on, everybody? Thank you for joining us for this episode of Robert Garcia Unfiltered. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the two undisputed fights that happened between Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia in Las Vegas, and then also Naoya Inoue versus Nery in Japan. But first, let's talk about Canelo versus Munguia. Canelo retains his 4 undisputed belts after having a unanimous decision victory over Munguia in an all-Mexican showdown on Cinco de Mayo weekend. I feel like Munguia started off really well in the opening rounds, staying behind the jab and using his distance. But give us your guys' thoughts on his overall performance, given the fact that he got knocked down in the 4th, and then he was able to hang in there with Canelo throughout all 12 rounds.
I think Munguia tried and was throughout the fight was trying. He was in great shape and was coming to become champion. He tried, you could tell he was looking for it and everything. But I think Canelo just showed that he's in a different level, experience, skills, defense, everything. I think Canelo showed that he's better than Munguia at everything, at all. It's one of those fights or situations where one fighter is good, but the other one is better in everything overall, just much better than you. So it showed. I think there was even that moment where Canelo, the guys were very friendly throughout the press conference and everything. All Munguia did throughout press conference and everything was thanking Canelo and respecting him, and they showed too much respect. So I think at the end, where if Canelo would have wanted, I think he could have pressured a little more, pressed a little more, and maybe we could have stopped Munguia. I think it was the last round. He landed a really good 2-punch combination where it seemed like it did hurt Munguia a little, and instead of trying to finish him off, he actually kind of hugged him and hold him. I could be mistaken, but I could probably think he probably told him something in the ear, because it seems like he got close to him and got close to his ear, like maybe give him credit, give him respect. But it seemed like Canelo didn't want to. He could have take a step back and get him with 2 or 3 more punches, maybe to a point where he could have hurt him and knocked him out, or to a point where the ref would have stepped in and called it off. But he looked like he just he grabbed him and held him and just let him get through. Maybe he knows that he's young. He's a Mexican, and he pretty much wanted him to continue with his career, not hurt, and continue doing things, bigger things in boxing. I think that's what Canelo did. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know what you guys think.
I thought Munguia did a little bit better than I had expected. I think the main difference in the way he fought versus Canelo compared to, he fought Derevchenko, he fought some of these guys real, I guess you could say reckless, is he just seems a little bit more experienced now. He took his time. He never got reckless with Canelo. I think he also, like you said, respected him a lot. So he went into the fight with a different mentality. I expected Munguia to be a little bit more relentless. And I thought it would be an all-action fight for the first few rounds, and then Canelo would catch him and eventually stop him. I also don't know what I was thinking, thinking Canelo would kind of press the action and look for a stoppage. He's gone, I don't know how many fights where he just kind of, like you said, cruises through the fights, which is one of the reasons I also think the best fight for him, we're going to get into a little bit more, is like Benavidez, because, like you said, during fight week, these guys are it's one thing to be like really respectful of each other. Like that's one thing. Like we never, like, at least even in the gym, like we don't like guys kind of talking shit back and forth. Like it's just not the way, we like it. But when you get in the ring, like I don't want to see, like you said, most people, and I think it happened that Canelo hit him with the 2-punch combination and kind of eased off. That tells me, one, I wasted my time watching the fight, because that tells me how easy that fight was for him. Like, and that's not saying that's saying more about Munguia than or it's about both. Like, where Canelo took that fight over potentially a better fight that everybody's asking for against an opponent who he could take it easy on and still win the fight. Like, that's the problem I have with this fight, is that I never thought Munguia really had a chance. I thought the only thing that I looked at as a positive was that he was kind of going to go out on his shield and at least give us a good fight. But even then, he played it a little bit safer than I expected, and to me, it wasn't that great of a fight. There was some action every now and then. Canelo got the knockdown, and but I just always thought that Munguia was out of his depth with Canelo. He's levels above him, and it showed. Like you said, there was a time where it looked like Canelo hurt him in the last round and just kind of eased, let him hang around. So I didn't care for that. Once you get in the ring, I don't want to see somebody taking it easy on somebody else just because they're countrymen. I don't care where they're from. Once you get in the ring, I want to see a fight. That's why I think the best fight for him is Benavidez, because those guys, they really don't like each other. So I think we'll even get a better Canelo when he goes up against someone like David Benavidez, because they really don't like each other.
I feel like they're going to be marinating that fight for us to give it at the right timing.
I think coming off of the last couple wins that David Benavidez has had, there's nobody that Munguia has ever fought, or obviously he was undefeated before, so anybody that he's ever beat that was at the level of Caleb Plant or Demetrius Andrade. So I saw a lot of people saying that Munguia deserves the fight, and one, because he's being real respectful. Like, that doesn't get you the fight. Like, then Benavidez has to kiss Canelo's ass to get the fight. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't really care for all the friendly stuff in the ring. Like, outside of the ring, that's cool, but in the ring, I didn't care for it.
Is there anything that impressed you guys about him? Because this is his first time fighting at the elite level, and now with Freddie Roach in his corner, is there any aspects that you guys have seen him improving on?
Well, he did look, like Pita was saying, a little more cautious, taking his time. Pita and a lot of people were expecting, the Jaime Munguia that takes chances, that goes out there swinging and has been caught a few times, been hurt a couple of times, and turns fights into wars. We could have expected that a little bit from Jaime, but I think the way he fought, trying to be a little more skillful, a little less reckless, where he's just going out there swinging. Where if he would have done that, it would have been a better fight, a little bit more action in the fight. But Canelo would have probably caught him and hurt him and maybe knock him out. So he fought a little careful, but he also fought smart. And that I could probably say is from instructions from Freddie Roach, where he didn't go swinging recklessly. He just went out there and tried to fight smart. Canelo was just better, but it wasn't a bad way of fighting either. I think he fought the right way. He went all 12. I think maybe Canelo didn't want to finish him in the last round, but still did good. Compared to other fights where he goes out there and against less talented guys, and he's been hurt. He's been actually in the verge of maybe losing the fight, and he goes out there and drops the guy in the last round, and maybe that's what gave him the win. He's been in those situations. Now with Freddie, seems like at least this last fight, the last couple of fights, he's looked a little different. We could credit Freddie for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is just he looked a little bit more calm. But the thing is that in this fight with Canelo, I feel like the one thing that we feel that he improved on the most was also the main reason why he had no chance of winning the fight. Because if he would have at least gone out there and put pressure and made it an ugly fight, then maybe he does get knocked out. But I believe that probably would have been his best chance at winning the fight.
Better chance.
I think that, because if you try to out jab Canelo, Munguia's a lot slower than him. His reflexes aren't as good as Canelo. Canelo has great defense, great head movement, great counter punching, faster, just everything. The IQs, but everything about the way Canelo fights is levels above the way Munguia fights, in every aspect that you can think of, even punching power, everything. But the one chance that maybe Munguia had was maybe his youth, the energy that he fights with. Like, if he's out there and he's kind of like, I don't know who I can compare it to, but he's constantly putting pressure, throwing combinations, and and he takes Canelo's, he got dropped in the 4th round, but after that, I don't think, besides maybe the 12th, maybe it looked like he got, but maybe he would have, in the later rounds, maybe Canelo slows down a little bit. He's up there in age too, and Munguia is a lot younger, a lot fresher. Maybe he would have been able to slow Canelo down. Maybe that was his only chance. But the way he fought, he had 0 chance of winning the fight. I already thought he had little chance of winning the fight, but maybe just going out there and making an ugly fight, dirty, holding, just pushing him and trying to, but like we said earlier, I think going into the fight, he was just happy to be there. He kept, like you said, he kept thanking Canelo for the opportunity, and that's not what I want to see. I want to see somebody going in there trying to take what Canelo has. I don't want to see somebody going in there thanking him for the opportunity. Obviously he's getting the biggest payday of his career, but you shouldn't feel like, oh, you owe that guy for getting you that opportunity. Instead, you should be like, I want what he has. I'm trying to take what he has. I'm not trying to just be a part of his his career. I want to take it. And I think that's what was missing from Munguia's mindset, from the way he fought and everything. And I didn't care for it.
I saw a lot of people comparing this fight to when Canelo fought Mayweather back in 2013, on like in the aspect of, or in the terms of the experience that Munguia is going to get with this fight. How will this fight benefit him in his career moving forward?
Well, he should. There's a lot to learn from it, because just like what Pita's saying, I agree with Pita. About him, being so friendly, thanking Canelo, and just being happy to be there. You don't win fights like that. You gotta try and win. You gotta try and make it ugly, make it dirty if you can. Just maybe you're gonna get hurt, or maybe you get knocked out, but at least that's the chance he had. He was just too friendly, but it's one of those opportunities where Canelo pretty much gives to his opponents, and it's happened before. A few of Mayweather's opponents, with Mayweather, there was always a little more like talking shit to each other, where fighters wanted to beat him up. With Canelo, Munguia was too friendly. Munguia was thanking him for everything, and Canelo liked that. Canelo likes that. He wants to, he wants them to understand that they're getting that opportunity because of him, and that's why he's choosing who to fight, who not to fight. Because if you're talking shit, I'm not going to give you that opportunity, and I'm just not going to give you that big fight. It's just different. It's just the way Canelo's been doing it, and he's the only one that could do it. He calls the shot. So who knows what's going to happen in his next fight? I know there was some talk in the ring where Benavidez was sitting. I think they exchanged a few words. I don't really know what they were saying, but hopefully that gives a little hope that we might see the fight. Hopefully.
It would have been cool. Oh, go ahead.
I don't think the question about was it close to like when Canelo fought Mayweather? I don't think so. Munguia is 27 years old already. Canelo was 23 when he fought Floyd. If you see Canelo from 23 years old to 27, you see a much better fighter. I think Munguia is kind of the same. There's not a huge changes. Just a few things, but I don't think he'll ever reach the level that Canelo is or was at 27 or is now at 33, even if it does take him another 6 fights. I just think the levels are just so different between the two. Canelo at a young age, when he fought Floyd, is just the style that Floyd had was just all bad for Canelo. You've seen guys that move and give Canelo some trouble. He's more of a counter puncher himself. So when you're a counter puncher and you're fighting somebody that's faster, quicker, and a better counter puncher than you are, and Floyd, Canelo he just couldn't do anything against him. Munguia's actually a pressure, kind of guy. But he fought Canelo a little bit more cautious, and I don't think it's you can compare the two. I don't think they're the same. I think Munguia is who he is, and he's already a little bit older than Canelo was. Canelo was 23 years old to fight probably one of the top, whatever greatest fighters of all time. That's pretty crazy. He was 23 years old. He was a kid. He wasn't even fully developed as a man yet with his man strength and stuff. So, at 27, Munguia is what he is. And I don't think the two can compare.
kind of piggybacking on when you brought up David Benavidez, Theo, it would have been cool to see him get inside of the ring to call him out.
No, because
I
then
truly
Canelo would have
believe,
complained and said,
I
"This is my
truly
money."
believe there's a contract that says he can't step into the ring.
Yeah, probably.
What? Really?
I think so.
Yeah, there was a reporter. I wish I had. I wish I would have screenshotted it. I don't even want to say the like I have a name in my head, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to misquote like the wrong person. But they tweeted out that there was a few reporters. Like one reporter, he does commentating for I forget what network. I know his name, but again, I don't want to say and misquote him, misquote the wrong person. That he said there was a reporter that wasn't allowed to commentate during the fight or something, and then Canelo came out. It wasn't Fight Del Son. That's somebody that Canelo really hates. No, but it was somebody else that I guess has never been, has never talked great about Canelo or whatever as a commentator, and he wasn't allowed to commentate for the fight or something. So I read that on Twitter. I wish I would have screenshotted and stuff. So Canelo's the kind of guy that does stuff like that.
Because they did that to Fight Del Son, but I think Canelo came out saying it wasn't him, it's the TV networks and that. I don't believe that either.
No, it's him. It's him. Golden Boy's not gonna, or whoever did it before to fight this one. If it was when he was fighting for Golden Boy, they're not gonna make a decision like that just on their own. That came from Canelo, and this one the same thing. It comes from Canelo, and that's the kind of guy he is. There's if David would have tried to get into the ring, they wouldn't have let him, so it wouldn't look bad. It would have looked bad. He's trying to get into the ring and they deny him. That would have looked bad already. He's desperate. But that's already what everybody keeps saying. Oh, he just wants a payday. He just wants a payday. So him trying to get into the ring, I don't understand what people have a problem with where two fighters, they're boxers, they want to fight. One guy wants to fuck somebody up and people have a problem with it. Oh no, he just wants a payday. No, he's trying to fuck him up. Like that's your job. Like that's what I want.
But right now they were talking about fighters. I remember, we don't need to say the promotion, but I remember Abner getting kicked out, and it wasn't because he had beef with a fighter or anything. It was a promoter that kicked him out.
Yeah, but that was because Abner had beef with Golden Boy. Remember?
Okay.
Abner had came out and talked bad about Golden Boy when he left, and he talked about how they treated Canelo to the way they treated him, and so when he went to go work a show that was co-promoted by Golden Boy, they didn't let him go in. Which okay, like it's like we said, if it's the promoter that has a problem and they decide that, then okay. But Canelo decides that, and it's okay because he said it, but he says that he didn't do it. You know what I mean? If Golden Boy felt that Abner was talking bad about him and whatever, then they kick him out. Canelo did the same thing to fight this one. He did the same thing. He does that, but then he says, "Oh no, it wasn't me. No, it was him." You know what I mean?
Because then there's also that dude that looks like Canelo and goes around fights, and they also
back. Yeah, but he starts charging for pictures and stuff. Of course, they start kicking that fool out. He charges for pictures and stuff like that. Yeah, he was a dude that would always take pictures. He would charge and make people believe he was Canelo and shit. And then he started getting banned from casinos and stuff.
What the heck?
So you think it's because of Canelo or anything like that?
No, I'm sure, but I'm just saying like it might have been, but they have a good reason to kick that fool out.
Yeah. Right now that you guys were mentioning about it being written down in a contract, supposedly, wouldn't you guys were saying?
I wouldn't be surprised if it is. I'm not saying
we don't know that for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
But it's most likely it's Canelo, but wouldn't like the networks want that to happen, like to call it, like to hype it up more?
They would love it, but they know they're not supposed to allow it. Yeah. You think they wouldn't want him to come in? You think they wouldn't love to bring him into the ring? They would have loved
that. That would draw so much attention.
Everything would have loved.
Yeah, but they're on top of they would love to do that, but they would also love to keep working with Canelo. So they would rather keep Canelo happy.
So they would rather
keep Canelo happy, because he could fight, somebody, he could fight Terrence Crawford and they could still make a lot of money. They could fight, and still generate a lot of money. But they know that Canelo doesn't want to fight David. They know that he has no intentions of fighting David, so they'll keep David away just to keep him happy.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but well, first of all, in our last episode, we were talking about how Turkey Al-Shea, I believe that's how you say his name, how he's making all these big fights happen and just like basically throwing money at these fighters to fight each other. I think he requested for Canelo to fight Terrence Crawford in December. I don't know if you guys heard about that, and if you did, what are your thoughts on that fight?
I think it's a fight that will do good at least the first half of the fight, I think Crawford is game to fight and to put up some good rounds, because he's not, they're probably about the same height, maybe Crawford a little bit taller. But physically Canelo's just the bigger, stronger man, because Canelo's already a super middleweight. Crawford still hasn't fought at super welterweight. So it's a big difference. But his talent, his skills, his heart will probably, I think he'll put up some good rounds. 6 rounds will probably good, but eventually I think Canelo is too big, too strong to a point where he'll land and hurt him. But I think we'll have some really good first 5, 6, 7 rounds full of action. I believe so.
Mm.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that fight. I think they're just, completely different weight classes. You could just see in like the weight classes that they started at. Like Terence Crawford's first world title was at 135, Canelo's was at 154. That's 19-pound difference. That's way too much. Now, 147 to 168, 21-pound difference. Like it's just too big of a weight disparity that even though I think Crawford is we'll talk about Inoue later. I think Crawford's the second best fighter in the world right now behind Inoue. There's weight classes for a reason. Canelo's up there too. Canelo's in the top 10 in the pound for pound list for, if it was, if there was anybody else, even someone like Munguia or other 168 pounders, then I would give, Terence Crawford a shot at beating some of those guys. But if you talk about 2 guys that are in the top 10 pound for pound and one guy is 21 pounds heavier than the other one, then I don't see a chance. I don't see Terence Crawford winning. I don't think that's the best fight. Obviously for him, he would want that for, obviously the money and that would provide for him. And obviously that's a big opportunity. So, he would take it, and I'm sure he wants to get that fight. But me as like a fan, saying what I want to watch, like I would watch it, we're boxing fans, I watch a lot of, sorry ass fights. So that's probably better than a lot of fights that I've watched. But yeah, that wouldn't be my first choice.
Why do you think they didn't offer the Canelo fight for that?
What do you mean? The Benavidez fight?
The Benavidez. Sorry about that.
Because they want to work with Canelo.
Like His Excellency.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So if His Excellency, I can pronounce his name, so I'm gonna pretend to be able to pronounce his name. Everybody calls him His Excellency. So if His Excellency would have said, I want Canelo to fight for me, and I want to make him versus Benavidez, Canelo wouldn't even talk to him. So, they want to work with Canelo, so they're gonna get him a fight that he'll take or that he wants to take.
Dang. I'm still holding on to that hope that it's gonna happen in September. But before this fight, a lot of people were criticizing Canelo from his last performances, thinking that he's maybe on his way to retiring already, or maybe that he hasn't been looking the same than he was before. But after this performance, do you guys believe he's on his way out, or do you think he still has a few more years to stay?
I think Canelo at the age, I think 33 or 34, I don't know, 33 at that age, everything he's already accomplished, everything he's already has, and all the money he's made, and still fights like a hungry athlete, like a hungry fighter that wants to be great when he already is. You got to respect and admire that. Even though we probably won't see the fight that we all want to see with him against Benavidez, but when you have so much money and you already have enough money to retire and your family, your grandkids, your great grandkids could live happily the rest of their lives, and you still want more, and you still wake up to do your workouts, and he's thinking, he still feels like he's in his prime. That's something you got to applaud and you got to respect. Very few are able to do that. That's why you have greats like Mayweather, who was one of those that did stuff like that. After having everything and accomplishing everything and still wanting more. Canelo's 33, and in boxing, he's got so many fights and so many years that we could think, we might be seeing the last of Canelo. But I think, he didn't sit down the whole 12 rounds. He didn't take they didn't even need to bring the stool in because he wasn't sitting down and fought against a tough, strong kid that was there, obviously putting up a okay fight. not a great fight, but an okay fight, and was able to do that. I think just for the dedication that he has for the sport, the love that he has for the sport, gotta respect him. I give him respect for that, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, I think if Canelo keeps fighting guys like Jaime Munguia, I think we're going to see him for another like 5 years. I think we'll see him for for a long time, because he's a very dedicated guy. But as long as he keeps fighting opposition to the level of Jaime Munguia and stuff like that, then yeah, he's going to keep
Fighting
fighting.
Berlanga next.
Yeah, exactly. if he fights Jaime Munguia, Berlanga, these kind of guys, then he's going to fight for another 5 years. And good for him.
That's funny. Do you guys want to touch up on anything regarding that fight before we move on to the Japan one?
What fight?
About Canelo's fight.
Against Berlanga?
No.
Oh, just about Canelo?
Fight, yeah.
Oh no, nothing. Not about the fight itself anymore. I think we covered everything. Berlanga was there, causing commotion with everybody, talking shit.
I think Berlanga's been saying that there is already a contract where he's gonna fight Canelo in September.
That'd be fucking horrible.
He's like a mandatory or something, no? For WBA?
David's been a mandatory for like 2 years, and you don't see that one being done.
True.
Yeah,
True.
so Berlanga
That
would be the word that's worse than Munguia.
Yeah.
Nah, but why not? This Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Berlanga also.
Who cares? Nobody wants to watch that crap.
Fight, big payday. Why
Nobody wants to watch that crap.
Yeah, why not?
Nobody wants to watch that crap. Nobody.
It's Canelo fighting. Whoever he fights, people want to watch.
People are gonna watch just to see like what
and then
people are gonna stream it.
And probably Berlanga was gonna try to a little bit harder than Munguia did. I think he will.
He's not. Have you seen Berlanga fight? He's had some horrible outings in his last
but he'll try. I'm saying he'll try.
Fucking horrible. No, but even against lower opposition. No.
I think he'll try.
He's had some horrible performances against far less opposition. He'd be another guy that would be like Munguia, that when he goes into the ring, he's gonna be thinking Canelo and like be scared because he's fighting Canelo.
I think he'll try. At least try.
I think he'll talk a little bit more than Munguia.
Maybe in the lead up, he'll just because he's a little bit more cocky and stuff. Once he gets in the ring, I guarantee you he's not gonna fight like that. Nah, he's not one of those guys that he's gonna bring.
Now I want to see it.
Nobody wants to watch that bullshit. Nobody.
So let's say Canelo does retire. Hold on, I had like a follow-up question. Let's say he does end up retiring without fighting David. What does that say about him? Does that will that
look,
hit anything?
Canelo has had. If you look at his resume, he has one of the best resumes in boxing. He has probably the best right now, like with names. He's got a lot of big names, a lot of big fights. He's fought, great fighters before. But if he keeps saying or if he has all the belts, right? He has all 4 of the belts. It'd be one thing if he were to vacate the titles and say, you know what, I'm just gonna fight. I don't have that much longer in boxing. I'm gonna fight. I'll pick and choose here and there. But if you're undisputed, you should be fighting every number 1 challenger, the top guys, and that's why I think he should fight someone like David. But if he were to retire without fighting David, he has a bunch of guys already in his resume where you're like, nah, he's still a Hall of Famer. He's still a great fighter, one of the top 10 best fighters in the history of Mexican boxing. Endless amounts of money, and he's had a great career no matter what. But if he keeps fighting and the one guy that everybody wants to see him fight, the best fighter besides himself at 168 pounds, the absolute best fight, then, that's the one guy we still want to see him fight. That's the only fight that we want to see him fight. He keeps saying, when people were calling me to fight Callum Smith, when people were telling me to fight, they're saying that I wouldn't fight Billy Joe. Nobody was asking for those fights. Nobody gave a shit about Callum Smith or Billy Joe Saunders or fighting Jaime Munguia and these guys. It's Benavidez. That's it. It's been Benavidez for a few years already. It's gonna be Benavidez for the next few years, even if he does, if he doesn't end up fighting him. And that's what we want. But ultimately, he makes and chooses whatever he wants to do. And he's already a Hall of Famer. He's already cemented as a top 10 greatest Mexican fighter of all time. And he could do whatever he wants. Like he says, he could pick and choose whatever he wants. I just don't know why it's a problem that we keep asking for that fight, like all his fans, and they're gonna comment on this and they're gonna say, you guys are haters and Benavidez this, Benavidez, when every single person, if you ask anybody in boxing that is neutral, not Canelo nut huggers that are just gonna say, no, he could pick and choose who to fight whoever. Name one guy that you think would give him the best fight, that would make the best fight. And it's David Benavidez. Like, there's nobody that you could choose that you would say this guy would give him a better fight, or this guy would make a better fight. And as boxing fans, don't we want to watch the best fight? Like,
Yeah.
how can you be a boxing fan and not want to watch the best possible fight? Like, at 135, like, you could say, I think Tank versus, so-and-so is the best fight. Why wouldn't I want to watch that? Like, why is it a problem that we're asking for the best possible fight? And everybody knows it's those two guys. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. I really don't.
Man, hopefully we do end up getting it. All right, let's move on to Japan. Earlier this morning, Naoya Inoue remains undisputed after knocking out Luis Nery in the 6th round. And so he improves now to 27-0, 24 knockouts. He recovered from a vicious left hook that brought him down to the canvas for the first time in his career in the 1st round. But he came right back and he dropped him in the 2nd with, I believe it was like a counter left. But what were your guys' initial thoughts when he hit the canvas? And did you guys pinpoint any errors that he made in order for Nery to have that success over him?
I think it was one of those situations where he got caught a little cold. It happens in boxing. Nery has a great power. He's one of those Mexican fighters with really good power. So a good punch landed, did hurt Inoue. I think Inoue went down, hurt. He waited for the count because he had to. It was the first time ever. Most of the times you'll jump up right away thinking I'm good, but he was smart. He felt it, and even when he got up right away, he started holding because he knew Nery came right at him to try to finish him, and he did hold and played it smart. Was very smart about it, but that was just that occasion. First round was cold. He just got caught, surprised. But after that, it was just Inoue, he started controlling, dropped him in the 2nd. Even though the knockdown was caused because Nery jumped in and took his, crossed his feet, right foot up front, and got caught and went down. So I'm not saying it was a legal punch, legal knockdown, but he was totally out of balance also when he got hit. But that was just the beginning. After that, that's why he's the monster. He showed it, controlled the fight, hurt him, dropped him one more time, and then knocked him out pretty cold. That when he knocked him out, Nery was really bad hurt. The ref didn't even take a chance to count. He whipped it up because he seen it, the way he fell, the way he was hurt.
That popped out of the ropes. That was kind of scary.
Yeah, when he got dropped, I was shocked. I didn't expect. I expected Nery to, the kind of the way I said I expected Munguia to fight. Nery was going to go out there and he was going to give it his all. Nery, he's a tough dude. He's had some losses in his career, but he's never, that last fight that he had against Asa was probably the fight of the year last year. Insane action between the two. So Nery's a tough dude. I was surprised. I was surprised when he caught him and dropped him. I think the biggest mistake that Inoue made was, the fundamentals and stuff. You could say, oh, he dropped his hand, he did this, he did that. I think his mentality starting the fight was what caused that knockdown more than anything. I think he in the 2nd round till the fight ended, you saw the defense, the intelligence, the speed, everything put together the way he normally fights. I think in the 1st round, he went out there a little bit too aggressive. He went out there, you could say, looking for the knockout, looking to make a statement early to hurt Nery and let him know, like, you're in here with the best fighter in the world. I don't know how many people know, what they had to do to allow Nery to fight over there. He had been banned for life from fighting in Japan for missing weight, for testing positive, for PEDs. I believe he celebrated after he won by knockout, just kind of, I don't know. The Japanese are really respectful people, and Nery rubbed them the wrong way, and they banned him for life. So they had to lift that ban for him to be able to fight over there, and they only did that because he was fighting Inoue. They only did that because they knew him going over there was basically like they were going to sacrifice him in front of them. Like, you were a piece of shit. You missed weight. You did this. You did that. Now you're going to pay for it. You're going to fight the best fighter in the world, and you're going to get knocked out over here in Japan. And Inoue went out there with that kind of aggressiveness, like, I'm here to make a statement, and he just got caught. I think after that, I think we saw the best fight in the world. I don't,
You put him above Crawford right now?
I put him above Crawford.
I think we'll know after Crawford's next performance.
I have him above Crawford and right now, last year after Crawford beat Spence and that same week, that's when Inoue fought Fulton. I had Crawford above him. But it's been a whole year and Crawford hasn't fought. I think at this point, I read on Twitter, I believe it was, that since 2021, I believe Crawford's fought, or 2020, something like that, Crawford's fought like 3 times. Inoue's fought 7. Inoue in world title fights is 22-0 with 20 knockouts. That's insane for world title fights. Once you get to the level of world title fights, yeah, you get stoppages. That's why I think Crawford's up there too, because I think Crawford, since he got to welterweight, which is his 3rd division already, he got to welterweight. Nobody's gone the distance with him. He stopped every opponent he's been with at welterweight, which is that's also saying a lot. I think those are the 2 guys that are head and shoulders above everybody else in boxing. But just because of Inoue's, because he's fighting constantly, and every single time he fights, he's fighting guys ranked, number 1 for this, number 1 for that. Not guys that are getting put number 1 to fight him, the way Yildirim was when Canelo fought him, or, some of this stuff. He's fighting the best guys at 122 pounds. There's literally nobody by the time he was up to featherweight, nobody's going to say, oh, you didn't fight this guy at that weight class. Like, he's beating every single top guy in 122. He brought in, after the fight, that guy, Sam Goodman, who's the IBF mandatory. I don't know if that's his next fight. MJ's out there. There's still a few good names out there, a few good opponents out there for him at 122, but I don't think anybody beats him at 122. I think he's just, head and shoulders above everybody.
So you think it'll be against the man?
I don't know because he brought him in the ring, so that kind of tells me that's what they're looking at, or that's who Inoue. Inoue pointed. Unless I'm wrong, because they didn't show who he was pointing at, but he was in the ring. He was like celebrating, and he points at the guy and he waves at him like, "Come here," and he goes over to his promoter. I forget the promoter's name. And he walks over to him and tells it and points again. And then next thing you know, Sam Goodman's in the ring. Believe he's Australian. I don't know if you've ever seen him fight. That dude can fight. That's his mandatory for the IBF and WBO. Maybe I don't know exactly which ones, but that could be his next opponent.
I don't know. Just listening to the name doesn't sound like a boxer's name.
No, I know, but I know it doesn't sound like.
That's kind of fucked up.
Steve Goodman.
Sounds like the attorney from Breaking Bad. Was it Sal Goodman?
Yeah.
Between him and
something.
Between him and MJ, stylistically, who would give him the best fight?
Bueno,
I think MJ.
MJ?
I think MJ because
I don't know Sam Goodman at all. I think MJ puts up a good fight. MJ is pretty gangster. I thought it would be I thought it would be MJ. I hadn't heard that it was going to be MJ will be next.
Or maybe I don't know.
Hopefully,
but I think those are his next 2 fights.
I don't know Goodman. Honestly, I've never seen Goodman. I don't know how tough he is, but I would.
It is Saul Goodman, right? It is Saul.
Sam Goodman.
Sam Goodman. I said Saul.
I would like to see MJ.
Oh, Saul is the attorney. You watch Breaking Bad, Rio?
No, but it was just funny.
Breaking Bad, that's a badass one. I think MJ gives him a really good fight. Because
he doesn't back down either.
No. The power. He's got a lot of skill. He's obviously was he Olympic gold medalist? Was he gold medalist? I know he was an Olympian.
Could have been.
When we talked to I'm sure he's okay with me saying it, but when we were in Japan, when Josh was gonna fight Ioka the first time, was when I don't know if they had already announced that Inoue was gonna fight Stephen Fulton, or maybe there were negotiations, and I asked Mr. Honda, who he's one of the big promoters in Japan with taking promotions. We were using his gym. He was in there, and I asked him, "Hey, is it true about Inoue versus Fulton?" I was like, "That'd be a really good fight. Like, Fulton can fucking fight." And he told me, he's like, that one's gonna be so easy for Inoue. And I was like, I told him, I was like, yeah, but that's a big dude. That's a good boxer. He could really, he fought. Off the top of my head, he beat what's the kid from LA right here that he beat?
I know you're talking about
Roman. When he beat Roman, he boxed them. Then he fought Figueroa and fought on the inside. Like he has showed that he could do different, and he's like, that one's gonna be so easy for him. He's like, I believe the toughest fight he'll have at 122 is MJ. And and even I told him, I was like, MJ, I was like, are you serious? Like, I didn't think, I mean, MJ's a good fighter, but I didn't think he was better than Stephen Fulton. He said MJ would be a tougher fight. He's like, he hits fucking hard. He's like, you guys, he's like, we know he hit that dude is strong. And then there's skill behind it. So when Mr. Honda told me that, and then he did go out there and destroy Fulton like it was nothing to him, then I was like, oh shit, maybe Mr. Honda was right. So I think I'm gonna believe Mr. Honda and say MJ is probably the toughest fight he's gonna have at 122.
We saw he was in Bam's undercard when
he's been on a few of Bam's undercards. Yeah, the last one is when he beat the kid from Mexico. I forget his name, something Gonzalez, I believe it was. Panda was training the other kid. That's when Panda was training one and Joel was training the other, or Toño was training the other, and MJ looked good in that fight.
Yeah, he hurt him pretty bad. We're kind of going back and forth because we have been like answering some of my questions that I had in order. But back to that first knockdown, I felt like he looked shocked, but he was able to regroup really good and then focus throughout the whole fight that he ended up dominating. But how much mental strength do you need in order to regroup for something like that, experiencing something like that for the first time? How much strength do you need?
Being his first time and the way he reacted, the way he waited for the count and everything, you could tell he's a very smart, very prepared fighter. He's talked about it. I'll bet you his trainer, I believe it's his dad, they go over stuff like that. It's something that us as trainers, we have to bring it up to our fighters. I don't know if other trainers do. Me as a former fighter, I always tell my fighters right before the fight, especially the ones that are barely getting started. If you get hurt, don't play it as as a brave man. Don't try to get even. Hold, hug, take a knee if you have to. Do something just to survive, to make it to the corner. I always tell my fighters, if you get dropped, don't get up and try to get even. You already lost the fucking round. All you're gonna do is take a chance to get knocked the fuck out, because you're the one that's hurt. And if you try to get even, you try to play like the brave man, more likely you're gonna get caught again. You're already hurt, and you probably get knocked out. You already lost the round. No matter what, you lost the round already because you got dropped. Move around, survive, make it to the corner. Give me that minute to give you instructions, to wake you up. So Inoue fought like a very experienced fighter. He took the knockdown like if it's happened before. It was a pretty, he went down pretty bad. He went down pretty solid.
Like a clean shot right on the chin.
And he just got up, stayed on his knees, looked at the ref, and got up right at 8. Still you could tell a little hurt. Because he right away he didn't try to get even. He didn't play it. He didn't try to be the brave man. He's played it smart. I think they've gone through it. Even though it had never happened, but they've gone over it with his dad. That's a smart corner man right there. That's a smart man in the ring. He showed experience. He showed the what a world-class fighter needs to know.
Yeah, I think it's one thing for. When you tell a fighter, to do this and to do that, to when they actually have to do it, and the first time that it happens, it's in front of over 50,000 people at the Tokyo Dome, against a former world champ, and like you said, the way he got up and just controlled himself, was able to reset his mind to, okay, I shouldn't go out there and just try to destroy him right away. I'm gonna pick him apart and I'm gonna beat him up little by little. I think it showed a lot, like you said. It shows why he's one of the best fighters in the world. But Inoue's been through some tough fights. Like he's already when he fought Nonito the first time, I believe he had a fractured orbital bone. He was hurt in one of the rounds. Obviously, he's fighting also another all-time great fighter in Nonito. And the way he handled that too, fighting with I believe it was, I could be wrong, but I believe it was a fractured orbital bone that he fought with. And he fought like, not just it happened at the last round. No, he fought a lot of rounds like that. He's got a lot of mental toughness. He's a dude that anytime he fights, I'm gonna go out of my way to watch him, because I know he goes into the ring. You know, we were criticizing Munguia earlier about how he kind of went in there with too much respect. Inoue and you know, the Japanese like culture and stuff, they're really respectful people. You know, we witnessed it firsthand when we went over there, and the promoters and everybody, they're great people. But Inoue, when he gets into the ring with you, he's trying to rip your head off. He's trying to destroy, you know, whatever he has in front of him. And as a fighting fan, as a fan of boxing, fan of, you know, combat sports like that, that's what I want to see. I want to see somebody like trying to hurt somebody. You know what I mean? You know, it for the whole time that the fight's going on, you have to be on the edge of your seat. You have to be on the edge of your seat, not knowing what's going to happen. And now, because he got dropped, now you can expect something like that too. Because the thing is with Inoue, is he's gonna keep challenging himself. He's gonna, like I said, maybe fight that last two fights with Goodman and with MJ or whoever he decides to fight. They're gonna be good opponents. And then he's gonna go right up to 126 and fight the next world champs at 126 and these guys. And now that we saw him get dropped and hurt, now we could see, you know, now if we see, and that this was a southpaw puncher. Now we see Venado Lopez going there with them. Now you're gonna see him with Venado, and the whole time you're gonna be like, fuck, if Venado lands that overhand left the way Nery, if this, if that. So I think it makes for more entertainment too. You know, whenever Inoue fights. I
feel like that fight would be really exciting because you don't know where Venado's shots are gonna be coming from. But yeah, after that knockdown, he obviously dominated the full fight. What do you think? How do you think Nery should have fought in order for him to be less susceptible to the power shots, or do you believe there was no way around it?
No, it's like we talked about Munguia earlier. It's like we talked about Munguia earlier. There's just levels. Canelo was levels above Munguia. I don't think anything Munguia would have done would have beat Canelo, but his best chance was kind of, you know, to kind of go all out and say, fuck it, like I'm probably gonna get knocked out, but at least let me try. I think Nery the same thing. If maybe the best chance he would have had is if just to say, you know what, man, I'm just gonna go out there and I'm gonna pressure and throw and make it an ugly fight. I'm gonna make it dirty, make it ugly. Probably would have still gotten, he got knocked out anyways. You know what I mean? So you know, there's, you know, people don't understand that. Yeah, sometimes they say, oh, like, you know, I'll go back to the Munguia fight. Oh, Munguia's not ready yet. He's never gonna be ready for Canelo because he's not at that level. You know, Nery is not nowhere near the level of it. He's nowhere near the level of Inoue. And that's just facts. You know, he landed the one punch.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
he landed the one punch, but besides that, he was out of his depth.
So if they're not at the level that they're fighting, why do they get so much credit beating them?
Because they've done so much, they just never faced that one fighter that's above them.
No, but she's talking about like Inoue. She's talking about like Inoue beating Nery or Canelo beating Munguia. Like, why do they deserve to get credit for that? Like, they're like these guys are special guys. Like these guys, Canelo and Nery, they're special fighters. The fact that they can make other guys at the level of Nery and Munguia, I think they're similar levels. You could say that. Make it look like, you know, Canelo. We even said that he kind of took it easy, or he could have been taking it easy. Inoue, that's why I like Inoue. That's why I don't criticize Inoue as much as like Canelo with Munguia. It looked like Canelo kind of took it easy. You know, he takes rounds off. He kind of just chills. You know, Inoue's trying to rip your head off, and he does what he's supposed to with those level of opponents. But there's just guys that are just special. Like, I don't think people understand that. There's guys that are just, no matter what you do, no matter what anybody in the 1980s or 1990s, no matter what you try to do, you weren't going to be better than Michael Jordan. Like, you just weren't going to be better. Right now in the NFL, no matter how great your quarterback is, your quarterback isn't as good as Patrick Mahomes. No matter how good your defense is, no matter what, you're not going to stop Patrick Mahomes. No matter how hard somebody trained in sprints and, you know, and I'm training the hardest, I'm eating right, I'm doing everything correct, you were never going to be faster than Usain Bolt. There's just some guys that are just special, and you people have to understand that as hard as you train, as hard as you whatever, these guys are never they're not at the level of Canelo, they're not at the level of Inoue, of Terrence Crawford, or some of these guys. They're just special athletes, and people need to understand that there's levels there, you know, there's levels to it. Like, it sounds really cliche and really just simple, like real basic. Oh no, these guys are special athletes, you know, and there's a reason they're the best at, because the main thing with those two guys is they have the skill, like Inoue is skilled, Canelo's skilled, they're super dedicated too. They're super dedicated to their sport. They're
Even when they
athletes
don't have a fight,
24/7. They're athletes
even
24/7. So you're never going to catch them. You're never going to catch them. Oh, maybe he's not as prepared as he should have been, or maybe you're not going to get that with these guys. You're just not going to get it.
right. You guys answered my question earlier when you guys were talking about the pound for pound, but my other question was going to be, is there any dispute that Inoue is the #1 pound for pound at the moment?
Terrence Crawford.
Repeat, I think it is right now.
Oh, is there any? Yeah, I think Terrence Crawford is. I think anybody who is unbiased has to have 1A, 1 and 2. It's Inoue and it's Crawford. No matter how you try to, my dad thinks it's Crawford. I think it's Inoue. I say it's only Inoue because he's fighting more often.
He's more
I think
active.
if you just tell me who's the best fighter in the world, like I'm gonna say Terrence Crawford. But if you tell me right now, who do I think is the, it's just because of how often he's fighting, like I have to give that credit to, I have to give credit to him for staying active and fighting consistently, and keep knocking guys out that he's supposed to, like, just the way I think Crawford, he's undefeated at welterweight. He obviously he's never lost, but at welterweight, nobody ever went the distance with him. That was already his 3rd weight class, and that's when he picked it up and started knocking dudes out, nonstop. Inoue is 22-0, 20 knockouts in world title fights. That's insane. I don't think there's any other fighters that you could argue that should be in the top 2 pound for pound besides those two, and you can pick and choose. And I don't think either one is wrong. I don't think either one is wrong because, like I said, I think Crawford's the best fighter in the world, but Inoue, just because he's a lot more active, I'll give him the spot.
Right. All right, that was all my questions for that fight. And I had another question regarding the Ryan Garcia scandal about the positive drug test. There's a lot of fans that don't seem to understand what's the point of testing before and after the fight if they don't get the results until a few weeks after.
Look, because the results take like 10 days. I saw a lot of it was a horrible week for to be a, I wouldn't say we're not experts or this and that, but we're involved in boxing, so we've been through this kind of stuff, like where what VADA is, what all the, like, our fighters take these tests, so we know the protocol, we know everything. But there's so many casual fans that just don't understand it, and because Ryan and his dad keep going with the no, it's rigged, no, they're setting me up, or Ryan Garcia's dad literally said if they tested him before the fight and he came out positive, why would they let him fight? When he understands the way it works, like VADA doesn't get the results right away. Like I explained this on Ellie's channel. The process of VADA is they test, you piss, you take your blood, they seal it in these little tubes that they don't even have the fighter's name on them. It just has like numbers, and then they throw it in the little.
And don't forget, they make the fighter.
The fighter themselves
lock
it. The fighter does everything. So they'll take the blood and they give it to the fighter. The fighter locks it, closes it, puts the seal on it, puts it in the box that they're gonna FedEx it or whatever. That gets sealed in another bag, and then they take it to the mail and they send it off. It gets sent to a lab where it gets tested. I'm sure the results could come back a little bit faster, but that whole process of sending it to that lab and whatever takes a few days. We don't get the results back for like 7 to 10 days. Maybe it could be picked up. It could be a little bit faster, but the best part about that kind of testing is that it's random. So like you can't tell a fighter, like, let's say we know that the test it's going to take 10 days for the test to come back. So up until 10 days before the fight, that's when you're going to get tested, because we need to know if you have anything. So for 10 days, if a fighter knows I'm not going to get tested, who knows what the fuck they're going to do for those 10 days, like before the fight. So the testing has to be random. There can't be a set date, like, oh, by this date he's we'll cut off. There's a deadline now, 10 days, so that we know if the results. No, they get tested randomly. Ryan just happened to be tested the day of the weigh-in and the day of the fight, and Devin Haney the same thing. I don't know if Bam got tested a few days before the fight, or fight week, but I know he got tested right after the fight. So it's random. You don't know when they're gonna do it. But the results, you get them. When you get them, it takes a few days. But obviously Ryan fought. I think the worst part is the damage that he did to Devin Haney. That's where I understand what people were saying is the damage that he did to Devin Haney. He was obviously on PEDs when he did it. He came in a little bit over. He came in 3 pounds over, 3.2 pounds overweight. All those unfair advantages. The main thing that they could find him, they're most likely, So, and another thing too is if he believes he unfairly like they're setting him up. He asked for the B sample to get tested. If you think you got set up, why would you need the second one to get tested? If you think you're going to set up, then that just means they're going to set you up on the second one too. But he requested for the B sample to get tested. They're going to come back. It's going to be positive. He'll more than likely get a fine, which probably isn't going to be a lot. So to him, it's nothing. He'll probably be suspended for 6 months or some bullshit like that, which he probably isn't even going to fight for those 6 months. So the punishment it doesn't do much. So all that stuff, it really doesn't affect Ryan. The only person that really gets affected is Devin Haney, because he took a beating in that fight. He took a beating that's the one thing that no matter what they do to Ryan, and they take away even the loss, it'll be a no contest. They can't take away the beating that he gave Devin Haney and how that might affect him later on in his career. So that's why the punishment should be a lot harder. They should be more strict on stuff, a 2 years ban or you know what I mean, like serious stuff that's really gonna hurt the fighter, because the result of somebody being on PEDs and being overweight and what happened, the worst punishment that Devin Haney's ever taken and probably will take in his career, nobody's ever gonna be able to take that away. That's been there, the damage has been done, and that's the part that sucks.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because it's risking your life. You're risking your life in there. So having all those advantages.
All the people. There's so many fucking hypocrites out there now because of the boxers. They, like you said, they risk their lives when they go in the ring. When anybody else cheats, when anybody else tries to cheat, Antonio Margarito was caught trying to cheat, not even cheating in the fight with Cotto. I mean with Mosley, he was trying to cheat. People now could say, "Oh, I think he was cheating before," but they don't. There's no proof. There's no proof. He was trying to cheat, and they caught him before, and they took what he was trying to cheat with away, and he got his ass kicked. Still to this day, they criticize him. But Ryan Garcia tests positive for steroids, and do you see how many people are defending him?
It's because it's all the casuals, all the YouTube fans.
Exactly, but Ryan and his family and his team and stuff, they make it worse because they're saying I was set up, this and that, and people believe it. People believe that bullshit. Not everything has to be a conspiracy theory. He tested positive. End of story.
But the B sample, all that. What does that mean? That come out negative?
It's never happened. But they always request it. Like everybody requested the B sample because what they do is
those are taken at the same time, correct?
Yeah, it's just they get the same, like they get like, okay, so you piss in that, or they get that blood and they put in that little tube that they did like for Bam and Brandon and all these guys, and I think they separate them. They put in 2 different things, like so they test one and they keep the second one, and they keep the second one just in case this happens, so that maybe there was a mistake or something, but it's never came back negative on the second one. It's always the same as the first one, like it's because it's the same sample. It's the same sample. So, everybody requests it when they test positive. Nothing ever changes. So the same shit. But everybody's really
but what if they misplace the blood or something? It's possible.
What if it comes back negative?
Shit, they misplace kids, man. They switch kids all over the hospitals. So what if they misplace the blood?
They
never know.
Like he tested positive for PEDs. End of story. There's no, there's nothing else to it. And like I said, people are very hypocritical.
And when they're gonna get the B sample, why has it taken so long? Where the results should have been,
because they didn't test that to begin with.
Huh?
They didn't test that to begin with. So the B sample is just sitting somewhere until they say we want that to be tested. Like, so now they're gonna test it and it'll take a few days to get the results and stuff. Yeah. People also think it's like a fucking pregnancy test. You just pee on a stick and the results come up. Oh, he's on this, he's on that. No, it's some some fancy.
I've seen a comment that said something like, I work in HR, we have to test these employees all the time, and that tests don't work like that. I was like, but these are athletes.
Those you're testing for fucking weed, coke, and like a few things. You're not testing for fucking Osterin and whatever else, all these PEDs that everybody keeps bringing up. It's people don't understand. It's completely different. They've never done a random drug test, Olympic style drug testing. Or
why do you think Gervonta Davis is backing up Ryan?
What do you think? What?
Why Tank? Why is he backing him up? Why is he defending him?
Because he beat Ryan and Ryan beat Tank, so to him, or beat Devin, so to him it's like I beat Devin too.
Exactly.
That's what Tank. That's what
I've been saying. Yeah, that's
what Tank and his fans are the king. Like he's the best at that. Like he's the best at hypothetical wins. Like I beat Ryan beat Devin. See, I told you, like I would have done the
coming
same
from a
thing.
Tank
But you have
fan.
to do it. Like you have to go out there and do it too, you know. And I think Tank beats all those guys. I think Tank's whatever, but that's the only reason. It's not because he actually thinks Ryan or because he likes Ryan or because it's just because he fucking hates Devin Haney and because since he beat Ryan and Ryan beat Devin, then nope.
And if he says, yeah, Ryan, you're positive, you're a cheater, then people are still going, oh, then he might have then that means Devin Haney might have a chance to beat you. Yeah. He just doesn't want to lose that credit.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason. That's the only reason.
I have an interview.
But Tank himself has said that he fucking hates Devin Haney and his dad. They have like serious beef. So I understand it too. Fuck it. He really hates him. So, they got to do what they got to do.
Did you see them confronting each other?
I didn't see it. I saw the video, but I didn't get to watch it. I saw it when I saw the video popped up like on my Twitter, but my phone was connected to the speaker at the gym while the kids were there, and I didn't click the video to actually watch it. I just scrolled. I was like, oh, these guys got into it, and I just kept scrolling. I didn't want to click it, and then it play on the speaker. I didn't know what was being said. I didn't know what was going on, so I didn't want it, and then I forgot about it later. So I did see that they confronted each other, but I didn't watch the video completely or listen to it.
I made an interview with my tío Robert, if you guys want to watch it, where he gets more in depth of this whole Ryan situation and also about this Tank situation as well. I mean the Tank situation with Ryan. But yeah, that was it for my questions. Do you guys want to touch up on anything?
When they watch that video, yo.
Huh? Oh, you guys can watch it at KO Christie on YouTube, and it's my most recent interview. But yeah, do you guys want to touch up on anything?
No, is there any fights this weekend?
This weekend, I don't.
Yeah, we have fights. Matchroom has fights in Aguascalientes. Don't forget.
My dad will be out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be in Aguascalientes this weekend.
Yeah, next weekend.
I don't know if there's any other big fights or anything else.
Huh. When is Fury Usyk? That's in June, no?
Oh, Lomachenko.
That's this weekend?
Yeah, I think Lomachenko and
Lomachenko is fighting this weekend. Oh shit.
Lomachenko Cambosos.
And then next weekend you guys have Gio, right?
Gio Santillán. Yeah, and Art Barrera.
That's until next
week. Main event. No, Navarrete.
Navarrete is the main event.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you for tuning into this episode. We'll see you guys next time.
All right.